I have a secret for you, and it's that I filmed this entire video without pressing record. So I'm trying to stay positive with a smile on my face to film it again. But welcome to my July wrap up. I am Heather and I read books here on the internet and I talk about them with you guys. And today we're talking about the 9 books that I read in the month of July. July was my second best reading month that I've had so far in 2025. My best reading month was in May when I was a co-host for Escape the Readathon. And then summerween definitely did its job and helped me have a very successful July. So in July, I read one historical / lit fic book. I read one paranormal romantasy book, and I read 7 thrillers. Yeah, 7 thrillers. That's crazy. I had not really read thrillers since the beginning of this year, and then all of a sudden Summerween was like, hey, remember you like thrillers? And I do. So I read a lot of them. But I'm just going to reach for books and grab them and tell you what I rated them and what I thought about them, and we're going to get through this video, like I said, with a smile on my face. I also opened this with you guys in the video that I didn't film, so I can't crack it open, but I can have a sip of it. Life is good when this is in your hand. Okay? Okay. The first book I want to talk about is a book that I started in June and finished in July, and that is dun, 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 The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillig. This is the Barnes & Noble copy that is like 4 times as heavy as a regular book should be. What is that about? I don't even know. But this is good. I gave it 5 stars. This is a romantasy that has very purpley, lyric-y prose. It's very gothic. So if those are things that you'll really like it. If those are things you struggle with, this one might be a challenge for you, but I really loved it. We are following Six, who is a sister of this cathedral, and they don't really worship a god in this cathedral. They more like protect these sacred omens, and yeah, their religion is very interesting. But Six is a sister, and she is able to divine for people that stop by the cathedral, like tell their futures. And the way that divining works is they will go under this river, and they will see these 6 omens, and depending on what the omens are doing in their visions, they will be able to tell the future of the people that come by. So one day, the new young king comes by with his horde of knights, and he has his future divined, and this sets off the trajectory for the rest of the book. There's also this knight that comes by. He looks like Timothée Chalamet, and that's who I was picturing the entire time I was reading. And he is more of like a heretic and skeptic. He doesn't really believe in the religion of these people, but he and Six get off to a rocky, tumultuous start, and when they get off to a rocky, tumultuous start, they're going to end up falling for each other, right? Right. And so they set off on a journey together to kind of collect these omens and visit all of these different territories around. And Six discovers some things about herself and starts questioning things about how she has been raised and what she has been led to believe. And there's a compelling romance. I had a really good time, and I'm very excited to see where the sequel to this book goes. Next up, I read a little sci-fi thriller called Made for You by Jenna Satterthwaite. And this is a book about a woman named Julia who is a synthetic woman. She was literally made to win this reality show that is very much like The Bachelor, and she is the first synthetic woman that has ever been on this show. And because she is made to win, like she is made to be Josh's perfect woman, she does end up winning. So we are getting the past timeline of this Bachelor show where she is competing to win. And then we are also getting the present timeline where she and Josh have gotten married. They have started a family. And if you're wanting the science behind how a synthetic woman can have a baby, they try to explain it. I still don't get it. I don't think you're going to get science or technology information in this book. It's plot, okay? It's all plot. And in this timeline, Josh goes missing. Was he murdered? Is he missing? Did he just run away? Did he gone girl it? We don't know. But I will tell you that all of the fingers in this small town start pointing at Julia because guess what? Nobody likes a synthetic human being. So she sets off to prove her innocence. And it is a pretty good thriller, especially for a debut. I wish that we had gotten more of the science talk though. I cannot talk today. If you like Blake Crouch, but you want a more feminist spin on it, I feel like this kind of leans in that direction, or like John Mars. I had a good time. I'll continue to read from this author, but I gave it a 3.75 because I'm a nerd, I guess. I wanted more science. Next up, I read The Book of Cold Cases. And this book is if you wanted Evelyn Hugo to be a paranormal question mark true crime book instead of a book about the autobiography of an old rich lady, because this is the autobiography of an old rich lady. You are getting Shay, who is interviewing this old rich lady about her life, except that this old rich lady is allegedly the most notorious serial killer of her time. And so she agrees to let Shay interview her for this website, the Book of Cold Cases, that she runs. And we learn about what really happened all of those years ago and whether or not she did kill all those people. This one was fine. I really liked the Sundown Motel, and Murder Road was fine, and this was like a step above Murder Road, so I guess it was okay, fine. The like atmosphere and the vibes are really good. I felt like I'd read a story like this before, and I think it's because at this point I've read like 4 or 5 books where we have this young reporter interviewing this old woman for their life. You know what it was? It was Evelyn Hugo meets The Only One Left. That's what this book was. And both of those books did their own thing better. So this one was a 3. This was a 3. This was a 3. That doesn't make sense. Murder Road was higher than that. This was like, Murder Road was a 3. So this was like a 2.5. I don't know. I need to go back and look at my ratings. Okay, next I read my favorite thriller of the month, which was Don't Let Him In by Lisa Jewell. How to go about explaining this book. This book made a lot of people mad, and this book made a lot of people give it low ratings, and I completely understand. That is warranted. But for me, this book did what it was supposed to do, and it was written so well that like I had to give it a good rating. So Don't Let Him In, it got a 4.5 from me. And this book is about a manipulative, narcissistic piece of crap man, okay? We get 3 different POVs. One is a POV from this man when he is married, and like his inner monologue is just disgusting. I hated him. And then we get the POV of the second woman that he is with in the course of this story. And we get the POV of the daughter of the third woman that he gets within this story. And I wish I could remember names, and like I can't even look at the book because I read it on my Kindle, but that's kind of like the different people that we're following. And he is so narcissistic and manipulative. He will hop around and he will find a reason to get in, like get his claws into all of these families and all of these women. And the women will then start to like support him monetarily. And he is so full of excuses. Like he tells everybody that he works for a hotel. And so he has to go and stay at these hotels for long periods of time to help with guest relations and like hospitality and everything, which gives him a legit reason to be away. But when he's away, he doesn't answer his phone. And like the women will be so hurt, like gut wrenchingly hurt, that they don't hear from him when he's away, and he'll come back and he'll be like, oh, I was just so busy, or they told us that like we couldn't be on our phones while you were there. He always has a reason for everything. But the daughter in the third POV is so suspicious of him, and she begins to investigate and find out who this man really is, and we find out how many lives this man has affected. And like I said, this one will make some people mad and ruffle feathers and will cause them to give it a low rating, because he is written so well that you get so sick of how narcissistic and manipulative he is on page. Paragraphs and paragraphs and paragraphs of him whining and being a total baby. But like that's what he says to these women to get them to believe his story. And yeah, I can't say anything else without giving a spoiler, but I had a really, really good time with it. It's not like thrilling, like you feel like there's somebody behind your back and you need to watch out. It's thrilling in like a very slow, are these women going to get justice kind of way. It's a little bit of a slow burn, but yeah, I really enjoyed it. I really enjoy Lisa Jewell's writing. It's just like prosy enough while still being a very like page turnable thriller. Loved it. Loved it. Next up, I read The Thrashers by Julie Soto. If you are a fan of young adult mystery thrillers like A Good Girl's Guide to Murder or Truly Devious, then I think that you will also really enjoy this book. This is about a friend group, clique type collection of friends at this high school, and they are very popular, and they are known as the Thrashers because the main guy in the group, his last name is Thrasher, but also there are people that will kind of be able to join the friend group, and then all of a sudden they are thrashed, and this popular group of kids doesn't want anything to do with them anymore. So what happens is there is this one girl named Emily who was kind of like led into the friend group, and she was thrashed eventually, and this led to herself on prom night, which is like very, very sad and very traumatic. And the police begin looking into it because they want to know if the Thrashers or anybody else at the school kind of bullied her into this or treated her in a way that led her to commit this act upon herself. But what I really loved about this book was, of course, the mystery. Like, I really wanted to know who did it and why they did it, or if anybody did it. I really liked the interpersonal relationships between the characters that were in this Thrashers friend group. Because, yeah, they're like a collective group of friends, but you get to see how each of them individually relates to the other characters in the group. Because I think a lot of times in these like high school movies or books about high schoolers, like we see the friend group as a thing, like they are one character. The friend group could basically just be four people acting as one character. But in here, you definitely saw interpersonal relationships between one person and one other person, as well as how they functioned within the group. There were a little bit of love stories, there were some kind of frenemy moments, and it really did take me back to high school and like the pressure that you put on yourself to fit in and what might happen if you don't fit in. And then in the grand scheme of things, realizing how unimportant all of that actually is. Yeah, it was a good time. I gave it 4 stars, and I'm curious to see if Julie Soto is going to do anything else with these characters in the future. They were great characters. Okay, I read a book by Lucinda Berry, and I am so conflicted on my rating because Lucinda Berry is a good writer. I gave the book 2 stars as like a first compulsion rating. I don't know because the book was written well, the characters were good, but it had a content thing that I just cannot read about as a teacher. I don't want to like give a spoiler about what it is, but if you are good, unlike me, and read the content warnings, you'll probably figure out what it is very quickly. But it is something that is very unsettling to me. It is something that gives me nightmares. It's something that I have to relive every single year of my career. And I hate it in media. I hate it in books, and lo and behold, it was there in this book. But this book is about 2 different mothers. They're also neighbors. One mother is driving home one night. She picks up her son, and she also picks up her neighbor's son. Her neighbor's son looks like he's about to get sick in the car, so she has the 2 boys switch seats. After this, she drives into the lake on accident, and she is trying to save her son first and then maybe save the other boy, but she forgets, obviously she's like panicked and in survival mode, she forgets that she asked them to switch seats. So she ends up saving her neighbor, and her son passes away. Very grief-stricken throughout the rest of the book, obviously. And we are getting her story as she meets with a psychiatrist and also kind of unloads some backstory about her and her husband and her family. And then we get the point of view of the mother of the son who survived. There are a lot of other content warnings to look up in regards to this book. The other ones don't bother me the way that this one thing did. But yeah, it was a thriller, and I listened to it, and I didn't have a good time. So I gave it 2 stars, and I'm moving on. Okay. Ooh, next I read Bride by Ali Hazelwood. I love Ali Hazelwood's writing. She writes romance so well. And she wrote romance really well in this book. And I think a lot of people will also come on here and say, she wrote politics so well in this book. But I was bored through the politics. I did not care about the politics. This book is about Misery, she is a vampire, and about Lo, who is a werewolf. Okay, those 2 species don't get along, but there is a marriage, an alliance made, and they have an arranged marriage, and they get married, right? And there are a lot of politics that come along with them getting married, and I pretty much tuned that entire half of the book out. I could not tell you anything about the politics of this story, but I could tell you I really liked the romance between Misery and Lo. That's all I cared about. So I gave it 4 stars because Ali Hazelwood can write a romance. I could have given it 5 stars if the politics were interesting to me at all. And the thing is, I love epic fantasy, right? So I love politics in a book, and I love politics in a fantasy, but this one is set in modern times. And I think that's like what made me not care. It's set in our world. I don't want to read about politics in my own world, you know? So I didn't care about that part. I learned about knots. I learned about how knots are tied. I learned that vampires and werewolves can tie knots together. I will be picking up Mate. There might be more knot tying. I don't know. The last thriller of the month that I read was Hunting Wives by May Cobb. I saw that this book was going to be a Netflix show, and I was like, oh, I want to read the book first, because if I can, I like to read a book before I watch a TV show. And I mean, the book was compulsively readable. And I thought the book was scandalous, okay? We're following a woman named Sophie who moves to this small Texas town where pretty much like people just get together and shoot guns because it's Texas and they eat barbecue and they drink margaritas and they shoot guns, okay? So in the book, that happens. The main woman that she is in this new friend group with that likes to eat barbecue and drink margaritas and shoot guns, she kind of becomes obsessed with her. Her name is Margot. Sophie becomes obsessed with Margot. And for most of the book, you're like, are you like obsessed with her because you want to be like her? Are you obsessed with her because you want to be with her? Are you obsessed with her in like a really creepy way? And we find out how Sophie is obsessed with her. We do. We also find out that there's murder. And Sophie is blamed for the murder. She's like, she's the new kid on the block, right? Who are you going to point your fingers at in a small, tight community? The new person. And so people think she did it. And so Sophie is trying to clear her name through a lot of the book. But right now, what's happening is the TV show is getting mixed up in my head because the TV show went off script. Okay, I read the book, I then watched the TV show, and if I thought the book was scandalous, y'all, the TV show, the TV show. Don't watch if you don't like seeing body parts on your screen because there's a lot of them. All sorts of them. You will all sorts of body parts. Okay. This got nothing on your anatomy and physiology book. But yeah, the two plots are getting confused in my head because the TV show added so many more characters and like so many more directions that all of the craziness took. But I enjoyed the book. I really did. I gave it 4 stars. But like right now, my brain is going, what was in the book and what was in the show? And I don't want to say something that's wrong. So I liked the book. And then the show went and just ran away. And there's got to be a season 2. Like I can sit here and say the TV show is really scandalous. And I was kind of like, pastor's kids said, I watched what? So I can sit here and say that, but I can also say it ends it on a cliffhanger, like almost literally. And now I need season 2. Okay. Okay. Moving on to the next book. The last book I read. See those tabs? I read Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This was for my in-person teacher book club. There's like 9 of us in the book club, and I think only 3 of us read it, but all 3 of us that read it really, really liked it. This is about Joan, and she wants to work for NASA, and it's the 80s, and women are finally allowed to enter the space training program. So Joan gets accepted, and she does. And as she's in this space training program, she learns a lot about herself, a lot about family, a lot about love, a lot about friendship, and a lot about loss. And I don't want to say anything else. It was a beautiful story with so much good writing, if you can't tell. And Taylor Jenkins Reid can do no wrong for me. 5 stars. Did you read any of the books that I read in July? Like ever in your life? Did you read The Hunting Wives and watch the show? Because please talk to me about it, okay? Okay, I need someone to process everything with. Okay. If you watched all the way to the end of this video, leave me a lipstick emoji because there is lipstick on the cover of The Hunting Wives, like the original cover, not the TV show tie-in cover. And if you are interested in supporting my channel, you can always leave me a thumbs up or a comment. I love talking to you guys down in the comments. I also have a link to my Instagram and Patreon and other places you can find me on the internet. And I will see you in another video very soon. Bye, guys.